So I don't know, but I keep taking it further. I want us to listen to Energy Cabinet Secretary in regards to what happened with JKIA. That was the focus. How do we lack lights in an airport? That is quite dangerous. But also, even Kenyans, people run businesses that depend on power. They were very much affected. In our homes, yeah, some of us, we can't breathe without watching a particular thing. There you are very much affected. So it was touching manufacturing sectors. If you didn't have a backup power, it means everything is stopped. But the question is, how did the Energy Cabinet Secretary, who is also appearing before the Parliament, that is National Assembly's Energy Committee today, respond to this particular issue? Let's listen in.
When your house drips, you don't go and switch it back on. You can burn the house. So let's confirm what is afflicting, where the challenge came from, correct that challenge, and bring them back to the network. We know they are commercial interest. They are losing money. And even as we hold them back, we've invited them to come to Suswa to basically look at the audit log with us, and not for a blame game, but confirm where the challenge is coming from and correct that challenge and be able to secure our country together.
Okay. So that is sort of a structural challenge. I know that particular soundbite I didn't give much, but just overly looking at this particular issue of power, Dr. Luni, I don't know where you were when darkness came. A lot of us say, we are light of the world. That day, the whole country was in total darkness. How does this reflect on the power and the energy sector of the country?
This has got some message to send to the power and the energy sector in the country, because it means that we are not stable. We need stability. That is the most sensitive area, the power and the energy sector, because when it just go all over the whole nation, then one, there will be what will be destroyed. Of course, we know from the little power surges and the rest. And then now you go to the revenue that the industry loses. And you see, power is a main driver of the economy. So when there is instability in power, there is a lot that goes at it. And of course, we remember the issue of JKIA, that we could not be able to operate. And you now look at what we are losing in terms of tourism, in terms of activities, general economic activities. So that sends a message to the power sector that we need to do more than we have ever done, and we also need to have alternatives.
All right. I mean, Ken, I'm looking at this. We've had the power discussion also for the longest time. I think we've discussed about everything. But always it comes back to the cost element of it. The issue of availability and the frequency, that dependency on Kenyan power. I don't know whether that has been a concern for the longest time. But the question is, when you have such a situation, a countrywide blackout, I mean, economically speaking, because you talked about investors, and I think it's a one-off thing that we've seen in the recent past. How do you interpret this?
No, I think there are three levels of tragedies that came up with this outage. You've alluded to the economic tragedy in which restaurants were not, for example, being able to sell to customers because they don't have the facilities, or people are not able to move to their favorite places. So that day they made much less revenue than they would have had. Number two, you have the issue of the investor confidence reducing. On that particular day, I know there were some Belgian investors who are flying into Jomo Kenyatta Airport, and they were unable to get their bags from the carriage because the carriages need power to operate. So these are people who it's their first time arriving in the country, yet they can't get their baggage from the baggage carriers, and they're wondering, oh wow, is this the Kenya we hear about? But I think most difficult is the human costs. You know, one of the issues that was highlighted in the media was about a father who lost a baby who was in the incubator. These incubators run on power, and a father losing a young baby because the incubator lacked energy. You know, these are human costs that are extremely tragic, and such things need a very public apology. So it cuts across both the investment community, the human costs, and everyday economic costs. So it's something that we need to do a lot of soul searching to be able to avoid such things in future.
Okay. Dr. Lonyi, how do we buffer, as Ken says, how do we avoid this in future? You know, we look, for example, in South Africa, I mean, they've had their own fair share of troubles with the issue of load shedding. You know, you have to plan your life around the availability of power. Now, we are not yet there. Then marry this with, actually next week, we're having Africa Climate Summit. So there is this push for going green. And I mean, Kenya, our grid, a good percentage, more than a good percentage is renewable sources. But how do we avoid such a situation and make sure that we have power that we need as a country?
Yes, Noah, I think contingency planning is very key, especially on a significant sector like power. We need to have the alternatives, like you've said, clean, the green energy that is coming from alternative sources would actually boost our backup for the same. And we also need to ensure that we have effectiveness in terms of running the management, because ideally there's a management failure in that case also. So we actually need to be serious with our management, ensure that we check everything and provide for any contingency that may take place.
All right. Ken, briefly as we finish up, how do we buffer ourselves as a country? That is one. I know one of the issues we've had is the nature of infrastructure in the country. Part of it is quite old, so revamping the whole thing. But how do we make sure that we have steady supply and also affordable supply of power?
Well, infrastructure is definitely the answer. And I think you do need multiple grids.
Okay.
So that if one grid is affected by any form of activity, other grids are working. I think this whole idea that the whole country is almost connected to one socket, you know, is extremely terrifying to many people. So how do we, as we work with the IPPs, how do you have multiple grids so that you can never have the whole country in the darkness? I think that would be the one area that countries in the West have done that could help us. Definitely.
Humble request to my producer. Can you have that song again? The one I made an intro with. I can't make such an awesome intro without a very awesome outro. It will be imbalanced. The show will look like this, you know? Dr. you are not here.
Yes,
there was an epic intro here, you know? I don't know what kind of music. What kind of music do you listen to?
Gospel music.
Gospel? Anything gospel?
Yes.
Oh, so the latest one is Sweetie, 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 Hi, Kuara, Hisi. That's interesting. Ken, what do you listen to?
I listen to everything now.
Ken. Ken, you know Gengeton? Yeah? Well, there's Gengeton for the younger folks. But today we have Louis Armstrong and Wonderful World. Do you have it? Can you just have a little bit of volume? A little bit of volume here. Thank you very much. So, I mean, we are just celebrating, at the same time handling these critical issues. It's a wonderful world. We had Ken Kishinga here with us on BizChat, an amazing economist, analyst, doing all manner of things at Monetary Economics. And we also had Dr. Tobias Olwenyi, who came in, complained about the traffic, but he made it. It's better late than never, Dr. We appreciate also your input. He's an economics lecturer, finance at JKUAT, Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. And my name is Noki Kimboy. Indeed, it's a wonderful world. And thank you very much as you start your month, the month of October. Today is October 1st.
September. September.
I'm trying to price myself with that financial thing. We start in July. Yeah, but yeah, as we start September, I wish you a blessed mom. That is one. Remember, it's a beautiful world, so appreciate it even more. And make sure you're listening into business today between 3 and 4. But we finished the week on such a powerful note. It's a wonderful word. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And thank you for joining with us through this wonderful show. I'm Noah Boy. Up next, we have your KTN. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.